Good morning, and welcome to the Bunny Show Live. As you can see, I am not home. So this may be an interesting one, but we're going to work with it. If you pay any attention whatsoever to me on Twitter, you know that I am very happy to be having to wear a coat right now. I am so happy. I'm up in Wisconsin. It's 30 degrees, and I am the happiest bunny on the planet. Um, but because I was going to be traveling this weekend, I thought what better subject to discuss than girls and travel. The good, the bad, the ugly, the indifferent, um, and just kind of cover some of those things. I want to be very clear. I am not trying, with this conversation, I'm not trying to neg people out. I'm not trying to make you think that if your girl ever has traveled in her life, that she's definitely like fucked 10 randos. Or if your wife or girlfriend has to travel for business, that it's just an automatic red flag across the board and you should not be with her. Not trying to say that. I just want to prepare you for things to look out for, things to just be cognizant of, kind of red flags as far as her behavior goes, and just, kind of sometimes it's even as much just saving her from herself as it is protecting your relationship and your quality of life. Now, there are also a few things to keep in mind in that if you are not in a relationship or not trying to be in a relationship with a girl who travels a lot for business or for pleasure, if you're the guy who's looking to fuck a lot of girls and not have any real strings attached, then you can also look to this as less cautionary tale, more like inspiration for how to discern the girls who are more DTF because they are traveling and they're anonymous when they're not in their own hometown. So that's a lot. That's a lot. Fort Worth is back at home. This is not a red flag. This is not a red flag. He is going to be manning the comments in the chat from our home office. So he will still be there doing that. If you did not catch my wonderful revealing interview with Fort Worth last week, we are going to put that in the chat so you can catch that now. It was so good and so fun just sharing my man with you guys. So that was really fun. I enjoyed that interview immensely. So I want to just get right in here. Let's see. I'm making sense of my notes here. I want you guys to keep in mind, and I feel like from just being around here, from watching listening to our podcast, from paying attention to the things that we post on Twitter, we like to make sure that you understand female behavior and female kind of brain thinking as well as possible so that you can maximize your relationships, your time with them, etc., etc. So just know that whether a girl is traveling for business, for pleasure, or not traveling at all, there is always potential for her to kind of spin off and make bad decisions with her life and with your relationship. So travel is not a specific cause for concern, but there are definitely things that you need to look out for. This is similar in kind, and all of the things that we're going to talk about today as far as girls and travel actually relate almost parallel to girls' night outs. So the things that we talk about today can also be applicable if your girl is wanting to like do a lot of hanging out with girlfriends, even at home. So keep all of this in mind. This is why I am very opposed to girls' night outs, especially whenever it comes to frequent, like a weekly GNO. My girlfriends and I, or my coworkers and I, go out every Thursday night. Big red flag. And it doesn't, girls' nights out and travel both don't necessarily start out as being a negative. and they don't necessarily start out as being something that's going to interfere with your relationship or with her fucking around or just increasing her cock count, so to speak. So it just is with exposure and with repetition that she tends to get a little bit easier to navigate. The girls kind of get a little bit easier to target the more of these kinds of experiences that they have. So whether it's a girls' night out or what we're actually discussing today, which is girls in travel, maybe the first trip is pretty innocent, but then with exposure, with practice, depending on the friends that she's traveling with, and if there's a lot of alcohol involved, all of these things really contribute to the likelihood that she then starts kind of fucking around a little bit more and kind of experiencing travel life a little bit more. Let's see. You can gauge a lot about a girl's sexual history. So whenever you're first getting to know someone, there's a lot about a girl's sexual history that you can directly discern just based on a couple of the different things that she either discusses or that she has in her online profile. One of them is that she does a lot of traveling. You know, this is a red flag for a reason. A lot of times it'll be that she claims to be traveling alone. And we know that girls are very rarely actually single. We're always fucking someone. So if she's saying that she traveled here alone and here alone and here alone, it means that either there was someone in the background that she just isn't sharing, or that she was traveling in order to have these sexual experiences and have a little bit of liberation and anonymity so that she could fully experience the travel, so to speak. So watch out if she's got a history of a lot of travel in her past. And really, Fort Worth and I were just talking about this. This can even apply if she's traveling with family. It doesn't even have to be that she's traveling solo, because girls make time for the people that they want to make time for, and they will break the rules all over the place to get away, to sneak away for 45 minutes and hook up with some hot guy that she's met. So make no mistake that, hey Marty, that just because she's traveling with her family and you think that that's kind of a safety net, that, oh, she traveled a lot, but it was always with family, or it was always with her sister, or whatever that the case may be, that's not necessarily indicative of innocence, let's say. A lot of times also, girls who fuck travel a lot will have a lot of slutty fuck travel girlfriends as well. So be aware of that. If you are seeing her pictures that she's either sharing with you, you're meeting the friends, you're seeing her photos on social media, or even on her dating profiles, you can tell a lot by the friends that she interacts with. So if she's got a lot of slutty travel fuck friends, that's a sure sign that your girl is too. She's not the innocent one. Let's talk about girls who supposedly travel solo, but seem to be traveling very lavishly. So just know, if you see this across the board, if you see girls who seem to be traveling in a nicer way than they are living, there is definitely an older, richer man in the picture. There's definitely companionship being exchanged for money or resources. So this girl definitely has a sugar daddy of some kind, or multiples. A lot of times maybe it's an OnlyFans kind of situation. It's just one of these where it's genuinely a baby sugar daddy relationship, which I actually hate that phrase. It's just kind of stupid sounding, but there's something going on. There's someone who's funding this, and short of her being a known trust fund baby, which if she is, then lavish travel is not unusual to her life. So it's only, what I'm talking about here is travel that seems far nicer than, you know, she lives in a crappy studio apartment, you know, on the not so nice side of town, and yet she's traveling in high style when she does. That's a sign that there is a rich old man or five in the background. Now, the solo travel girls who are staying in hostels and look like they haven't bathed in a week, they still may be fucking their way around the world. Make no mistake. It's but they're likely fucking the local the locals. It's more like they're hitting the bartenders, they're hitting the wait staff at the resorts where they're staying. There's or visiting. They're hooking up with other people staying in the hostels and other solo travelers, whatever that may mean for her. But a lot of, make no mistake that a girl doesn't have to work to have sex. So she could look as ratty as can be or as done up and dressed to the nines. It is no indication of the amount of sex that she may be having while traveling. So that is not indicative, unlike men who, yes, every once in a while, even that, you know, guy who's got a cap flipped around at the sports bar in his basketball shorts and his flip-flops still manages to actually bang someone. Girls are across the board able to fuck anytime they want to, period. There's always someone who is willing and able and excited to give her a go. So make no mistake that even the girls who are traveling solo, who are staying in hostels and look like they haven't bathed in a week, they're still getting laid. Now, those were solo travelers. Let's talk about girls who travel in packs. So there are a lot of girls who travel either with co-ed groups, but a lot that travel with other girlfriends. We go on girls' trips, we go on girls' night outs, we do all of these things. There are green flags and red flags to either of those. But we're going to talk first about the girls who travel in packs with other girlfriends that are attention seeking. So they want to make damn sure that they are available and that it's obvious that they are out for attention. So you guys know attention is our oxygen. You know, attention is what drives females at our absolute core. So attention seeking travel girls who are traveling in packs with other girlfriends, they will always be dressed up, usually at least a step higher than they are even at home. So they're dressing better than they are when they're in their home city. And a lot of these girls may generally dress pretty well, but when they are on vacation, they do not leave the hotel, the resort, they don't leave their rooms without looking absolutely flawless to an almost disturbing level. There are tons of pictures posted on social media, whatever platform they prefer. There are tons of pictures, and generally those pictures are of just them. So if a girl is posting a lot of not just selfies, but pictures that are taken of her looking flawless on social media, and is not posting a lot of pictures that are of her and her group, you know, then that's a definite sign that this girl, who, even though she's traveling in her pack, is definitely out seeking, actively seeking attention. So there won't be a lot of group pictures because oftentimes that girl may not be the hottest girl in the group. And so she doesn't want to post a lot of pictures and look like, you know, essentially attract attention away from herself and onto other attractive girls in her girl gang. So there are going to be a lot of sexy pictures. There's going to be bikinis at brunch, at spas, whatever it is, but she never doesn't look fucking fantastic. Okay. So these are the girls who are actively seeking attention, even if they're traveling in a bunch. There are girls who travel with other groups, co-ed or with groups of girls, who are not necessarily attention seeking. The good signs here, and this is a good sign also if you are with a girl, if you're in a relationship with a girl who is traveling. So there are things to kind of watch for while she's away, as to whether she is actively attention seeking or if she is not. So non-attention seekers, this does not mean that she can't still have rando sex, but maybe she's not actively, that's not her goal in life, is to seek attention from men. So she's dressed normally. She's posting pictures with her friends, whether she looks the best in the picture or not. Maybe she dresses up for one occasion or two. Maybe she's traveling for a wedding or some kind of special event to where she's genuinely needing to dress up and look better. But for the most part, she just looks pretty normal, you know, as she does when she's at home. This is a good sign. Girls who really know will actually dress down when they're traveling. They, you know, will look nice, but they're not, they purposefully are not dressing in a way that accentuates their positives, you know, because they are not trying to attract attention, and they're actually actively trying to detract or deter from attention. So these are good signs. If you see your girl posting on social media, or if she's sharing pictures of herself with you while she's traveling, and you guys are in a relationship, it's a really good sign. If she wears lots of turtlenecks and maybe her hair is flatter than usual. These are just examples. These are just totally unrelated to my situation right now. But, you know, if there's a lot of alcohol involved, you need to be cognizant of that. You need to be aware of that, and consider that a real red flag, because even the girls who have the greatest sense of self-control, in most instances, alcohol is sex fuel. So if she's going out or at an event where there's a lot of alcohol flowing and it's free flowing and she is partaking, you know your girl, and you know that how she handles alcohol and how she behaves. Most girls, absolutely 9 times out of 10, will get loud. They'll get even more attention seeking, even if it's not necessarily their nature on a normal basis. And if there is sex readily available, they will be having it. Girls love to travel, and there are some jobs that are specific to girls who love to travel. Girls who want to have a lot of these kinds of travel experiences. Be aware of this, because you need to be cautious. Unless you are of the mindset to target these girls so that you can have a round of fun without really any strings attached. If you are trying to create a relationship with someone, if you're trying to get to know someone, you need to be aware that there are girl jobs that are specific to this kind of sex-fueled travel lifestyle. Number 1, flight attendants. This is the most obvious one. And occasionally the flight attendants are connecting to passengers or people that they're serving on their flights. But a lot of times, more times than not, it's more like flight attendants hooking up with each other, which sounds sexier than it is. Flight attendants hooking up with pilots, which is a lot more readily available. And then there's that power aspect to it. You know, pilots are just, it's like firefighters. It's just a hot job. You have this automatic assumption that pilots are very, you know, are masculine. They're in charge. They're the captain of this flight. It's a big deal. So it's a real turn on for flight attendants, and I would say can't think of the word. Anyway, it's about the power structure. So flight attendants hooking up with pilots is a good thing. Travel nurses, travel writers. So travel nurses who, may be in a new fun location for 6 weeks or maybe even 2 years. You just never know what the contract is for, but those girls can be in a new area, in a new city, and be the new girl in town just enough to kind of fuck everyone that they want to and get out. There are no strings attached there. She's not going to be there for long. And so there's a certain kind of like guys who play the, oh, I ship off tomorrow, so I've got to make the most of today, and don't you want to have sex? That same kind of mindset applies to travel nurses, travel writers. I would say travel like food critics, whether it's food or restaurants or resorts or whatnot. People who travel to write about experiences and things of that nature. They're a free for all because they're actually being paid to maximize the experiences of the region. So it's always going to be fraught with a lot of sex and sexual energy. Any kind of remote business work, consulting, anything that requires a girl to be on the road at least half the time, or more often than she's home, you're going to have a lot of travel sex. Business travel girls are, when you're younger, it's so appealing to, just like I think men join the military for similar reasons. It's so appealing as a female to have a travel job, it's appealing to think that your work will require you to travel, whether you're in marketing, whether you are in sales of some kind, whether you are kind of over a large region that requires you to be on the road a lot, whether that's by car or by plane. And it's just a sexy thing for girls to think about whenever they're maybe seeking those first few jobs out of college or getting their feet under them in a career to begin with. It's a big deal to be able to know that you're going to have travel experiences without having to pay for it. And I mean that literally and figuratively. It allows you to have rando sex outside of your zip code, travel sex with people that you meet at conferences, at networking events, even within the company, just in different regions, and stories of people, male and female alike, who have a whole other life when they are in business mode is almost disturbing. It's so normal. Guys who will have even whole other families in other cities, women who have truly a work husband, which I hate that phrase, but truly a work husband, where they have a relationship anytime that they are not with you, anytime that they're not at their home base. And they go through life, they essentially have two relationships going, but they are completely separate from one another and in a lot of ways hidden from another. I do want to kind of give some good and negative things about business travel girls, because I don't want, if your wife is traveling for business a lot, or if she has a job where she has to travel a lot or is on the road a lot, I don't want to blow up any marriages here. I just want you to be aware of things to look for and to be cognizant of. I cannot speak this morning. I'm not here to ruin your relationship. I can assure you, this is not really supposed to be a conversation that completely nags you out to girls, I swear. So some good signs. Is she easily accessible? So even if her business travel is booked with conferences, meetings, mixers, dinners, courses, even if you can't call your girl at any time of the day or night as you normally would if she were back home, um, she still has her phone on her. You know, we all still have our phones on us. So unless she is actually the presenter at this conference, and so she is genuinely on stage when you're trying to text or call, she will be able to at least jump on the phone, on the text or whatever, and say, I'm at this meeting. It should wrap up about, this time. I will call you as soon as I get out of here. And genuinely, she will be in the hallway picking up her phone, calling you immediately. So that's a good sign. If whether she's traveling for business or pleasure in a group or solo, is she easily accessible? This is a good thing. Does she FaceTime? How does she use like video chatting with you? If your girl is traveling, and again, whether for business or pleasure, and she FaceTimes you kind of any time of the day or night, not necessarily always at scheduled times, I think this is a really good sign. Another thing to watch for is if she FaceTimes you and it's always like right here, like the camera, the phone is just like her face in the screen, I'm going to say that's kind of a negative sign. A girl who will kind of show the environment more, whether it's her empty hotel room, whether it's the hallway where she's waiting for the next meeting to start, whether it's in an office that she's using, anything that shows her environment, that creates this connection. So if she's only showing her face, to me, that is a sign that she is trying to kind of block out other things in her environment, whether that's a man's suitcase that's over here or something that you don't recognize. And this depends on how much you know your girl too. But if there's something that she's kind of trying to keep out of the shot that you don't recognize, then that's a red flag. If she's kind of walking around in her hotel room and it's like it's out to here, or she sets it down and is getting ready or whatnot, this is a good sign that she's sharing her environment with you and she's not trying to hide anything from you on this call. So I think that anytime that a girl will use a lot of FaceTime or video chat of some kind is a really good sign, because the bottom line is when girls are lying about what they're doing and who they're seeing, girls slip up all of the time, and sometimes the harder they're working to be to hide things from you, the worse they are about revealing them. The more tells that they give off inadvertently. So if she's being really open with FaceTiming, with video chats, even with regular phone calls, and it's not whispering in the phone, it's not filling the whole screen, it's sharing her environment, it's being open with where she is, what her time is. I love it whenever Fort Worth's like, hey, what are you doing? Or, hey, where are you? And I literally right then just send like a location. And then I kind of say, here's what we're doing. Here's, he doesn't know where, where I am. He doesn't spend a lot of time, in Wisconsin or wherever, but, there's still something to be said for someone who's immediately like, here I am, like, check it out. Look at this. And they kind of are comfortable just sharing everything. Let's see. Oh, okay. So another good FaceTime green flag or good sign is if it's like 10 o'clock at night and she doesn't look still dressed to the nines, if she's like in pajamas and then she's got her hair up and she's already got her makeup off, this is a very good sign that she does not have plans later, because nobody who's having travel sex doesn't at least want to look hot when they're having it. So if she looks like she does when she's at home, when she's on this call with you, that is a big win. I'm gonna share a few red flags now. So, red flags for travel girls in general, but I think this is especially critical to pay attention to if your girl does a lot of business travel. Lots of nightlife events, um, because nightlife events are always centered around lots of alcohol, and alcohol is sex fuel. So if the alcohol is flowing and if nighttime events are a huge part of this job or this experience, that is a true red flag that there is definitely sex to be had. Girls who are cognizant and cautious about their relationships and about their connection to you, um, are going to decline these kinds of events. They're going to figure out ways around either going to these events in the first place or staying at them long. Girls who know better will and are trying to really protect themselves from making bad decisions will attend an event and they'll be there for an hour and then they'll bag off. They'll make their appearance and then they'll leave. Girls who are not overly cautious about things, uh, who don't really respect you or your relationship, or girls who are truly seeking the attention of others and male attention in particular, and are looking for some easy sex, will go to every nightlife event and they will stay all night and they will drink hard and they will feel like ass tomorrow morning, but they will be getting their holes filled. Um, Hours of no responses. Be cautious when your girl is traveling if she's not always available. This goes with, we talked about this across the board. It is a serious red flag for girls who are not quick to respond to your communication. So even if she's busy, she's going to respond and let you know what she's doing, where she is, and when she can get in touch with you again. When she'll be free from what she's doing right now so that you can have a conversation. So hours of her being MIA is a definite red flag. Uh, a lot of times that kind of behavior also includes overnights. So if you haven't heard from her since 7 p.m. last night and it's 10 a.m. now and she's just, oh, sorry, my phone fell in the toilet, whatever it is, that's a red flag. And whether it's girls' night outs, whether it's traveling for business or pleasure, always be aware of the girl's attitude about your concerns or check-ins in general, even if you are pretty good at playing it off as not being genuinely concerned about her goings and doings, because that translates into neediness. It's not really sexy. But if she's flippant or not respectful of you or your thoughts on what she's doing and where she is and who she's doing it with, that is a real red flag that she just does not respect you, or kind of your take on things. So if she if if you have concerns about her lack of communication, if you have concerns about who she's traveling with, if you know that she happens to be on business travel with someone that you already kind of had reservations about, or girlfriends that have a history of a lot of travel fucking, and you voice those concerns to her, or you're extra cautious or cognizant of what she's doing when she's out and she is laughing it off, she's getting angry with you about checking on her, or she's just being flippant just in her behaviors and attitudes towards you, that is an instant red flag that she lacks respect for your opinions of the effects that it has on your life. And that's the bottom line to all of this, is that if you're trying to create a relationship with someone who does a lot of traveling, then you need to be aware of what to watch for, because it will blow back. If it goes south, it will take you with them in some way, whether you're married or just dating. So I hope that this has been a decent enough conversation, that you recognize the green flags and the red flags and just things to be aware of in your own life, because I want you to have a great life. I want you to have great relationships. I want you to have strong sexual bonds. I want you to have strong connections to the girls that you're involved with. And so you need to be a man, as Fort Worth says, who just gets it. A man who just gets it understands all of this, because you likely understand girl brain even better than the girls that you're with. And this goes a long way in ensuring that you have a healthy, happy relationship, whether it's with one girl or many. I'm going to wrap up today because I've got some antique shopping to do with some old women and some brunch to be had and more coffee to drink and dogs to try to avoid them climbing on me. But if you like this, you will absolutely love Fort Worth and my podcast. Fort Worth has added that in the chat right now, but you can also find the link in the description below. I appreciate you tuning in for Bunny Church. I love to do it. I did enjoy this setting this morning. Isn't this beautiful? Right here on the lake. I'm incredibly grateful that I had enough of a phone signal to do this, because I was a little bit concerned. I'm kind of out in the middle of nowhere, Wisconsin right now, which is definitely a happy place, but I was a little nervous that you wouldn't be able to hear or see me today, or that the connection would be all jumbled. So thank you so much for joining me. Thank you for joining in the chat. Next Sunday for the Bunny Show Live, I want to do a hot seat Q&A. So if you threw any questions up in the chat today that I didn't catch because Fort Worth isn't there right beside me saying, we have a question, I want to do a hot seat Q&A next week. So if you have questions that you would like me answering live and on camera, send those in the chat. Send them in DM to us. Put them in the comments section down below, and we will address all of those and more next week. Thank you so much for joining us for Bunny Church. I will talk to you real soon, because in the end, I want you to win. Bye! Antiques. Thanks, Marty.